Are we in an AI bubble?
Yeah, I mean, look, we won't know until after the fact. We probably are in an AI bubble. Of course, I'm getting old now, so I can tell you when we were in a Web 1 bubble. After the fact, we all felt it. It was March of 2000 where the NASDAQ cratered and went down probably 65-ish plus percent over the ensuing months.
Do you see parallels between those two?
I do, but here's what I would say to people. You know, if you allow for your emotions to ride you out of things or ride you into things, it's a very dangerous way to invest, or it's a very dangerous way to think about the economy. So Amazon, I hate this story because it doesn't reflect well on me, but I'll tell it anyway. I went to a meeting. Jeff Bezos gave a presentation, and he said, you know, you guys are measuring me as an internet bookseller. It was 1999. Of course, this would be wildly expensive for an internet bookseller, but I'm way more than that. I'm using books as a way to dot plot the logistics of the United States and figure out where my warehouses should go. And then eventually I'm going to be an everything seller. I'm going to corner the market in online retailing. And so it's going to cost me a lot of money. The bad news is I'm going to lose money. But the good news is when I turn the switch on, it's going to be very profitable, and I'm going to have a logistics machine that will lead to a lot of cost synergies and people saving time and energy going to the shopping mall, et cetera. Sure. And so I was like ecstatic. I said, okay, I got to go buy this stock. And then the next person to speak was Warren Buffett. He came on the stage and said, oh, Jeff Bezos is a nice, lovely young man. But let me just say this to you. His internet bookseller is worth more than the storied Sears Roebuck. Of course, Sears is now out of business, by the way. Yeah. And then Mr. Buffett proceeded to say that he was burning money for 10 years and it was a technology stock and anything could derail it. And so I never bought the stock. Okay. But let me just say this. If you put $10,000 into that stock the day that I had heard that presentation, which was in 1999, and you stayed with it until 2023 at $14 million in your account, meaning you would have gone through 8 periods of time where Amazon lost at least 50% of its value. And in 2000, after the NASDAQ crash, it went from 116 to 9. And who has the stomach for that? Nobody. Okay, someone would have sold it. And so what I would say to people about the AI bubble is that there are parallels to the Web 1 bubble. Yeah. There are clear winners. Okay, Nvidia is a clear winner. Okay, and so it may be up, it may be down, it could get cut by 50% once the quote-unquote bubble bursts, but I'm willing to bet you if you hold that stock for 15 years, if you're brave enough, you'll be very well served. So we probably are in a bubble, but that shouldn't dissuade people from getting a toehold in that group of stocks or thinking about the future that way, because it is going to transform us. Somebody said to me that Web 1 was going to transform us. And everyone looked around back in 1996, 97 and rolled their eyes and said, this is a clunky piece of machinery. But look at where it is today. You know, let's say I had been back to my younger version of myself. In 1998, I was sitting at a fat box computer with a dial-up internet modem. And somebody came to me from 2023 and said, hey, 25 years later, you're going to be having a smart computer in the palm of your hand. And you're going to have access to the world's information. And oh, by the way, you're going to be able to stream. There'll be billions of people streaming 4K video, and there'll be billions and billions of dollars of transactions happening over this thing known as the internet. Yeah. So we have to remember there's great progress in our societies, and there's incremental progress. But just think about where the internet was in 98 with 4% saturation in the global market. Think about where it is 25 short years later. And if you were brave enough to invest in things like Microsoft and Google and eventually Facebook and those others, you did very, very well. I think it's important for investors to apply that context to AI.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you think about AI stocks as a category, do you think about companies like Nvidia as a semiconductor manufacturer? Do you think about big tech, or do you think about adjacent industries even, like cloud, security, etc.? Are these all good investments, or do you target a particular niche?
So ChatGPT was not yet public. You can get a pass-through investment in that through something like Microsoft. Google has its own AI. Facebook has its own AI. Obviously, Nvidia is basically making the brain for AI. Okay, is making the circuitry, and so I think all of these things are good investments. You're asking about cloud computing. It's a little off the definition for me for AI,
Sure.
but I get why cloud computing has been so successful. We're about to launch a SkyBridge-based AI ETF, which is basically looks like the portfolio of stocks that we've purchased personally. And so my research team and the people that are allocating capital here at SkyBridge are building a portfolio of publicly traded securities that are linked to artificial intelligence that will be grouped into an ETF. And what's different about that grouping versus the current AI ETFs that are out there, you more or less brought this up. There's too much Microsoft and there's too much cloud computing and there's too much of that. This will be more focused on what is directly publicly traded that you can access right now in the AI space. You asked about the private markets for AI. Currently, I don't have any private market investments in AI. I do have some private market investments in cryptocurrency and servicers to the cryptocurrency and the digital economy, but I don't have anything in the AI space right now.
Got it. And when's that ETF going live?
So I'm hoping to launch that by January 1st.